What up, y'all? Yes, I'm sick. I've been sick for about 3 days now. I'm up here. I'm in Walcott, Iowa right now. I'm up here at the world's largest truck stop. I got a delivery that's not far from here, about 20 minutes or so from here. I picked it up about an hour or so away from the yard. Man, what in the world? These jokers are stupid, man. I swear, man. Got one guy on both going the same direction. And one guy's on this side going slow. The other guy blasts by him going about 50 miles an hour in the truck stop. And I'll tell you, man. I was going to talk about something else, but something had I was almost in a wreck today. I was coming up through Arkansas, and they had an ice storm last night. Whatever it was, the road was sleet. It was just full of ice. All right. You need to, whenever you're on ice, you need to drive. You need to slow down. Not drive 20 miles an hour. Now, if you got to drive 20 miles an hour, just find you some truck stop somewhere and just wait it out. You're just in the way by doing that. You're causing more of a hazard than you are anything. That's just my humble opinion. I mean, I'm not gonna drive. Well, I did one time. That was last year, and I had a very good reason for it. I was just plugging along, but that was a unique situation. I was trying to get back to my sister who was on life support. So, but if you out there on the road and you just, I got a question. Why do y'all park in truck stops and leave your headlights on? Why do y'all do that? I don't get it, man. You park and got your headlights on. Anyway. There's this thing called the Smith system, and no, I'm not affiliated with them or anything. I'm just telling you, I learned about the Smith system when I first started driving. It's called the 5 keys of safety, and I'm gonna kind of touch on each one. Now, this ain't no anything to do with them. It's just my personal experience with that. And with all the years I've driven, I've always done these things, and it's kept me out of it kept me out of a wreck this morning. The first one is, there's 5 keys. The first one they say to get the big picture. Okay? That means, like I said in a previous video, you want to be scanning all the time. You want to know what's going on in front of you, or you want to know what's going on in the back of you. Alright? You want to know, and I'm going to tell you how I do things. Whenever I see a car, I assume they're going to do the dumbest thing possible. And I'm already looking, this is another, I'm going to touch on this in a minute. I'm already looking for a way out. I'm already kind of predetermined that they're going to do something stupid. And I'm already looking at what I need to do to avoid that already. Okay? But get the big picture. All right, that means, like, if you're, let's just say you're going down the road and you want to look as far down the road as you can, you know, and you notice you coming up, let's say you're about a half mile from this light, you notice it's green. You come around a curve and you see this green. You're like a half mile, 3/4 of a mile away from it. Okay, you pretty much know by the time you get that light, it's probably going to turn red. So you need to be preparing. You need to be preparing then that it's going to turn red, and what you need to do, adjusting your speed, preparing. Now, once you hit that no man's land, then there's nothing you can do. If you get past what I call the point of no return, then you got to go. When that thing turns yellow and you've got past that point, you just got to go. But you want to just be looking ahead and scanning. You want to get the big picture. You want to see what's all out there in front of you. All right. Apparently, I got it wrong. The first one is called aim high and steering. Like I said, I'm not affiliated. I'm just trying to point some things out. Aim high and steering is basically what I just said. All right. You want to be looking at as far as, look, when you top a hill, when you're going down the interstate and you top a hill, you want to look as far as you can see. Okay. Don't have tunnel vision and look right in front of you. You want to notice what's going on around you at all times. All right. Look at it as far as you can see. If you see somebody on the shoulder, you're 3/4 of a mile or even a mile away, and you're coming down this hill, and you can see forever right there, and you see a truck on the side in the emergency light. Go ahead and get on it. When you can, go ahead and get on over. That's getting the big. That's what they call aiming high and steering. All right. You're looking out as far ahead as you can. You want to be prepared. Way out there. Be looking as far out. You want to be looking out and back, out and back, out and back. Don't get tunnel vision right in front of you. And you're just looking right here in front of you. You want to know what's going on behind you, to your sides, everything. The second one is called getting the big picture. That's where you're. That's what I said by assuming that somebody's going to do something stupid. If I'm going down a 2-lane road, or even some of these 4-lane roads in some of these states, well, they're not interstates. They're like U.S. highways, but they just like interstates, except they have roads that come out just like any other road, like a stop sign. All right? If you're going 65, 70 miles an hour through there, these people don't care. So anytime I see a car, I don't care if I'm right up on top of it or if I'm a mile from it. If I see a car pull up, I'm just going to assume that they're just going to pull out there. So I'm already looking what I need to do. If there's the second lane, I get over one lane. I'm just assuming they're going to pull out there. Okay. And I'm looking in case they pull out. Sometimes they pull out, they pull right in the left lane. They're not paying attention. They're on their phones, they're talking to whoever. They're just not paying attention. And plus they got this be first mentality. So you got to drive for you. You got to drive for them and you. All right. The third one is called keep your eyes moving. All right. That means like I said, you don't want to get tunnel vision. You want to be looking ahead, looking in your mirrors, seeing what's on your sides, looking behind you, seeing if somebody's tailgating you, trying to draft off you. If they're looking down both sides, it keeps you alert by doing that. You see the first three things using your eyes. You're paying attention. Aim high. You're looking out as far as you can. Get the big picture. You're looking to your sides. You're paying attention to what's going on side to side and around you. Keep your eyes moving. You're looking It's all about looking, paying attention. Keep your eyes moving. It'll keep you more alert. Look in your mirrors every few seconds to see, because you never know. You never know, because the next thing is one of the most important things to me. You want to keep your eyes moving and pay attention, and you want to make sure, because the next thing is called always leave yourself an out. That's probably the main thing I go by right there. I mean, I do all the looking, I do all that, but this is, to me, is probably, to me, it's about the most important thing, and this is why I'm gonna say this, because this is what happened to me this morning. All right. You don't ever want to let yourself get boxed in driving down the interstate. I know a lot of people they just drive down the road, they don't care, they got the trucks at 65 miles an hour, saying whatever it is. All right. They get fixated, they get lackadaisical, you get complacent. You don't ever want to be complacent. Okay? You always want to be alert. All right. Always leave yourself an out. Okay? Don't let yourself get boxed in. If you're in a lane and you see a whole train of cars coming up alongside of you, then you need to do whatever you need to do. Slow down or speed up or whatever. You need to do whatever you need to do to fix that situation, because you do not want to let yourself get boxed in. What do they call it in NASCAR? The big one. What happens in the big one? You got 40 cars all packed in together. All it takes is one car, one person, and it takes out half the field, 20 cars or more or whatever. One person screwing up, take out a whole bunch. Well, that's what they mean by always leave yourself an out. All right, now I'm going to describe what happened to me this morning, and this is exactly what happened to me. Okay, I was driving on ice. It was nothing. I mean, it was practically nothing but ice. Okay. There's 3 lanes on each side of the interstate. All right. The left lane had the grooves. I'm gonna show you some pictures of it. The left lane had grooves, and then in spots you'd lose those grooves. It'd be nothing but ice. Okay, and it's going up and down hills. All right. Well, there's not a lot of traffic out there because the roads were treacherous. I mean, it was bad. It was just ice. I mean, I don't care if it's Arkansas or Wyoming. I mean, ice is ice, Don't matter if it's an inch of ice or if it's 5 feet of ice, it's still ice, So I'm just cruising along, and I'm going from lane to lane, and I'm gonna touch on this about the guy I talked about in that last video where his load shifted so bad. All right, you want to drive smooth as you can. Also, all right, this is why. But the road was all right. The left lane was like you had the tracks. The center lane was nothing but ice. You couldn't even see the road. The right lane had tracks in it. Okay. Well, we go around this curve, and all of a sudden the center lane has the track. So I eased over. I eased over to the center lane. Now I was in the left lane because it had tracks. I was trying to stay away from people merging on. I was going a little bit. I wasn't blasting through there, but I was going a little bit quicker than a lot of the other guys. They were scared. You could tell they were scared to death out there. All right. And I've driven on this a lot. But it don't take but one time. It don't take but one split second to screw up. But anyway, All right, so I go around a curve and you're going up a hill. All right. Well, I got to the center lane because I had to clear tracks in the center lane. All right. Well, this pickup truck, who's pulling like a Hotshot, pulling a gooseneck trailer, he had about a 30-foot trailer or whatever, tandem axle gooseneck trailer attached to this single axle pickup truck. All right. Well, he passed me in the left lane. Now it was ice in that particular spot. All right, we're going uphill. When we topped the hill, now he passed me a lot. He was going a lot faster than I was. But when we topped the hill, there was a car that was spun. Now it was going downhill at this point. I'm sorry, I'm sick, y'all. Y'all just have to forgive me. So we start going downhill, and I noticed there's a car up against the concrete the barrier in between. You got the concrete barrier, and then there's like a little bit of an emergency lane, and then the yellow lane on the left side. Then you got the lane. Well, I could tell he had just wrecked because there was no cop or nothing there. All right, so I noticed him. There's nothing else, but I noticed his pickup truck that he gets all the way up to the right lane. Now he was probably about 100 yards in front of me at this point. Like I said, I wished I had my GoPro. I could have recorded it, but I couldn't record it. I think it's by the grace of God I got by this morning. I was scared to death that I was going to jackknife. But all right. So you got the car up against the concrete wall in the center. This spun out. All right. The pickup truck with the gooseneck, he's about 100 yards or so, 150 yards or so in front of me. So he gets over to the right. All right. Well, we're going downhill on ice because he got over in that right lane, and through this little section, there was just nothing but ice. All three lanes were just covered in ice. There was no track. And I don't know what happened. I don't know, when he got right beside that car, the pickup truck, I don't know if he stabbed his brakes or if he gunned his gas or whatever he did. But all of a sudden, that truck just veered left towards the center wall. Now, thankfully, he was already past that car. All right. Because the guy was standing outside that car. If he had spun out and ran into that, he'd have killed that guy. He was standing right there beside his car. All right. But when he got past the car, his truck just all of a sudden veered left, and he goes to jackknife. He's pulling, like I said, about a 30-foot gooseneck trailer. He veered left. The truck, trailer, and everything go up against that wall. That trailer just barely missed that car and that guy. Thank the good Lord. All right. So what happened is he hit the wall. Now he's jackknifed. It bounces him, the truck, back out, but the trailer's behind him, and he's on ice, so he kind of brings the trailer back out. Now he's in front of me, and I'm going downhill, and I'm loaded, and I'm trying to slow down, but I knew I wasn't going to be able to slow down and stop because I'm going downhill, I'm on ice. There's no way I can stop. I mean, when he passed me, I was adjusting my speed as he was passing me. I was adjusting my speed and letting him get on up in front of me. I had no idea this was going to happen. All right. So when he came to a stop, he was stopped. He was dead in the middle of the interstate. He was all the way across the interstate. Jackknifed. The truck was like in the right lane, but it was like kind of facing. I can't remember which way it was facing. But I remember it was still jackknifed. The trailer was laid across. It was practically all the way across. There was one little spot. It was after that car that had spun out, and it was before the truck. And I had just enough room that I could squeeze by. I had to go all the way over to the left, and that little emergency lane on the far left up against that wall. And I was just very lightly touching my brakes, but I knew I probably could have stopped, but if I'd hit my brakes any harder, I too would have jacked. All right. So, you know, when he went to bouncing, I'm already okay. I'm scanning. Where do I need to go? I'm trying to see what he's doing. And I'm trying to, which way is he going to go? I need to react. You know. At first, I thought he was going to step up against the wall. And then I saw him bounce off because I was already kind of thinking I was going to go to the right and just kind of go around that way. But then when he bounced off the wall and went over towards the right, and in the last second, I saw that little thing I got. So but what I'm saying is I left myself an out. Now, I didn't have anybody around me. If I'd have had cars beside me on either side, or if I'd have had somebody, if I was riding up on close, you should be riding that close upon somebody in the ice in the first place. But if I had somebody around, if I had vehicles around me, there's no way I could have done that. I call it driving in clean air is what I call it. Just like you see these race car drivers, they talk about driving in clean air. That's what you want to do. You want to drive in clean air. You want to leave an air cushion around all four sides of your truck. And don't let these four-wheelers ride behind you and draft you. I can't stand it. That's a pet peeve. I cannot stand to watch truck drivers allow other full pickup trucks, cars, whatever, to ride their butt and draft off of them. That is so dangerous. And if it's all fine, well, and good. They think it's great until you have a blowout. And then they gonna be looking at you crazy. You know, hey, your tire messed up my car. Well, if you had been riding back there, but they gonna still blame you because you're a truck driver. You know, I never let nobody ride behind me. I never have. All right. But that's what I'm saying. I had nobody around me. I had that air cushion. When he passed me, I was already adjusting my speed, and I was looking ahead because I saw the car, and then I saw everything he did, and I was looking to see if there's anybody. And I knew I could get. And I would just react. I was reacting, and I just eased right on by him, and I kept the trailer straight. I think it was by the grace of God. I don't think it was anything I did. I mean, it was just, I think the good Lord had his hand on my guardian angel, whoever, had their hand on me like they always do, and kept that trailer straight. And I was able to ease by him, and I missed him, and I just kept going. You know, you can say what you want to, but you know, I was on ice and it was fixing to go back up a hill. And the last thing you want to do is lose your momentum going uphill on ice. You'll never get up that hill. All right, so I kept going. You know, so I probably should have called 911 or whatever, but you know, I was too busy trying to miss hitting him. Okay. And I was under a tight window today too. But anyway, the last thing is make sure they see you. Okay. Anytime, this is another pet peeve. Anytime, if it's overcast, I always cut my headlights on. Because I want them to see me. If it's overcast or if it's starting to get late in the afternoon, especially this time of year, when the sun just drops. Now, when it's in the summertime and it don't get dark at about 9:30, and the sun takes forever to go down, that's one thing. But I mean, you want them to be able to see you. You know, obviously you're gonna drive with your lights on at night. But if it's, especially if it's raining, now it's a law. I think it's a law in pretty much every state. If your wipers are on, your headlights are supposed to be on. Not your automatic lights in your cars. Your actual headlights. I see all these people. I'm saying if I was a cop, I would rack up on these people. These people that ride around and they got their daytime, they got their headlights on in the front, but they ain't got no tail lights in the back. You can't see them. And then I think they're looking for a lawsuit. You know, some people actually are looking for people like that, like me. You know, I'm looking. I'm always looking. You know, because like I say, I just assume everybody else is just dumb. I know they're not, but I have to drive that way because I you know, it keeps me out of it's kept me safe for all these years doing that. They say drive defensively. I would call the way I drive more reaction driving, because people are so stupid out here these days. You know, you can drive if you drive defensively, you're all the time hitting your brakes, you're all the time, you know, that's fine, but the way I do it is a little different. I call it reaction. You know, I'm reacting to how everybody else does, and I adjust what I do to them. You know, and if I can get by them, I'm getting by them. If I need to slow down and let them go on or do whatever, I'd let them. But I adjust what I do to their stupidity. Now, most of the people out here, they drive. People that can't make it no matter how fast they want to go, that drives me crazy too. So, I mean, pick a speed and go it. You know, if I'm coming down the road and you're going 65 miles an hour and I'm coming up behind you and I get right beside you and I get about almost to, you get right up on my trailer tires and you decide, oh, I don't want this truck to pass me. And then you start riding beside me. You're just a complete idiot. You know. But like I said, make sure they see you. If it's overcast, if it's raining, if it's whatever, late in the afternoon, turn your headlights on. Not your bright lights, but your headlights on. And that way you can be seen. It's better to be seen than not be seen. Because half times people, even these guys driving these trucks out these days, they're not. They're halfway paying attention. And they look over and it's late in the afternoon, there's shadows, and they're not really paying attention that well. They'll just come over. But if you had your headlights on, all your marker lights, everything else on, that at least they can see you a little bit better. Sorry about that. I'm just sick. Yeah. Anyway, I was gonna make a video about something else, but when that happened this morning, I just thought I got plenty of time. I got plenty of time, so I figured I'd just do that. It's gonna be probably just me talking on this one, but there's some antics going on with me and my job. I have to talk about that on some other time. Let's just say that we had a powwow yesterday, and I'm hoping that I'll just say this: not the men that own the company, but my dispatcher. The ball is in his court, you know, and I'm just gonna sit back and see how things how things go, and then I'm gonna go adjust what I do accordingly. I'll be going home in about a month, and we'll see how, what, when happens in the next month. So anyway, I started to talk about that. And like I said, I'm not affiliated by any stretch of the imagination with that. I was taught that when I first started driving with the first company I drove for. You can go online. It's like a class, like an online class. You can take. They give you a certificate and everything. It actually helps you on your driving, your car insurance. For like a defensive driving. So it's a real good thing. You can go there and go online and check it out, and you can take it and the whole deal. It's real. It's called the Smith system. Like I said, I'm not supported by anybody with them, or it's just something that it's just how I have driven all these years. When I first started driving, they showed us this thing here, and I was like, "What in the world?" I had no idea. But that whole, keeping your eyes moving, not leaving yourself getting boxed in, leave yourself an out, let them see you, get the big picture, aim high. It's helped me. It's helped me tremendously over the years. Some people don't really like the way I drive, but I'll put my driver record up. I'll put my driver record up against anybody's. Knock on wood. Anyway, that's all I got. I'll put this together. Put this out tonight. We'll just go from there. It's probably gonna be a little bit longer with just me running my mouth, but I just thought it was important to mention that. And it happened so fast this morning. I mean, even if I had just bumped him at 10 miles an hour, it still would have done a lot of damage. This big heavy truck. So, like I said, if you don't hit nobody, then you ain't got nothing to worry about. So, just use those things. The main thing is always pay attention, and you always want to don't get complacent and stay focused to what you're doing at all times. We'll talk to y'all later. I'll have some more footage tomorrow, so about more driving stuff. We'll talk to y'all later. Appreciate y'all. I wanted to mention this too. That guy out there in Arizona that had the load that his load shifted. That was probably due to driving. You want to drive as smooth as possible, especially if you're in bad weather, ice, heavy rain, whatever. You want to drive as smooth as possible. You don't want to make sudden, quick, herky-jerky movements on the interstate. Pulling out of truck stops. A lot of times you pull out of truck stop, the road kind of dips a little bit. And if you go hammer down out of the truck stop or another road or whatever, and that trailer, as it's turning, it's going to hit that elevation, and it's going to make that trailer do this number. It's going to make it rock. Well, that's what could cause a load shift. It could happen with a flatbed. It could happen with a dry van. It could happen with a refrigerator. It could happen with anything. Well, besides maybe a tank. I mean, the only thing that's going to happen in a tank is that load go to sloshing around. Depending on, I used to drive a tank, so depending on what's in there and how thick it is, that stuff gets to moving around. Yeah, you can feel it going. It pulls against the truck and it hits that bulkhead. It's weird. It's just you want to prevent it. The smoother you drive, the less likely that's going to happen. Okay, and that guy, like I said, he was a nice guy, but the only way that could have happened is he had to have done something, some kind of quick movement. Probably went out of a truck stop somewhere, gassed on it, wasn't paying, there's all kind of things that could have happened. But the load I had, it was produce. I had all different. It was a lot. It was like squash and red bell peppers and eggplant. I had all these different things on there. All right, but it was loaded. Produce is usually loaded almost to the roof. It's loaded pretty close to the roof. You got your vents coming out inside, where the reefer blows the cold air. All right, and so it was loaded that high, and then the very back, the pallets were only about chest high on me. They were only about half as tall as the ones in front of me. All right, so I had a load lock. That was coming across, and it kind of went across the top of the taller pallet, and there was a little bit of space on the right side of the short pallets in the back. All right, and I put another load lock across the back, and I put it right up against it and tightened it up. I've seen guys take them and stand them straight up vertically. You can do that too. But rounding curves, it could have happened doing that. He could have come off one interstate to another, an interchange, coming off an exit or whatever, and he come flying around some curve, and the load shifted. That's just what happens. You got to be mindful. You got to be mindful. It goes back to everything I was just talking about. You got to be paying attention. And if you come up on a curve, you got to think how that load is going to react when you're going around the curve. So if you're driving and you feel and the G forces are pulling you this way, well, guess what that load right there is doing? It's doing the same thing. So you need to drive where you're flat all the way through what you're doing. You're driving through a curve, going through an interchange, going from one interstate to the other, where you're merging, you're coming off one interstate onto another. You come down a truck stop and you hit this. It's a dip, whatever, a railroad track, whatever. You want to drive as smooth as possible, and that's what I was trying to get at the other day. I forgot to mention that. But that's what I was talking about a minute ago. But anyway, just drive as smooth as possible. Drive like that load, like you're part of the load. If you're going through a curve and you can feel yourself like going to one side or the other, well, that's exactly what that load's doing too. So you want to slow down. Those speeds on those curves are for cars, not for trucks. You don't want to. If it says 45 miles an hour and you come up on it at 60 miles an hour and you slam on brakes, well, guess what's going to happen? That load's going to probably shift forward. It's just all kind of things. This dude's going to back all in this dude up here. Boy, I tell you, got all the antics you see in these truck stops. Anyway, that's all I had. Just drive as smooth as possible, and if you pay attention to what you're doing, you'll do that anyway. If you're gonna drive over a railroad track, don't go drive over it at 70 miles an hour, 65 miles an hour, or whatever. Drive over it as smooth as you can. That way it won't affect that load. Go through a curve where you're not leaning. Just be mindful of all that. Anyway, we'll talk to y'all later.